Well, hello and welcome back. We are continuing our SQL tutorial and examples, and we're moving right along, focusing on, of course, MySQL and MariaDB. And today we're going to continue sort of from the last episode where we talked about dates and times and date times and timestamps. And we're just going to touch on some of the functions that are built in to MySQL. So if we do star from, what do we call it, all dates, I'm going to show these real quick. So I should probably say from. Okay, so we've got our little date table. Oh, and to finish that thought, we're going to touch on this because there are dozens of functions around date stuff. You can Google them. If you Google like MySQL date functions, should be able to see some pretty good examples of them. And you can see the documentation and see what all is in there. But I do want to give you a feel for what is there, so you're not banging your head against the wall trying to get things, trying to do something that's already been done for you. So the first one I want to do is let's do this here. Select star from all dates, except for we're going to do the date time first. Well, actually, let's do it this way. We're going to use date time, and we're also going to use type date. Actually, we're going to use all of these. Let's do this because it may be easiest to see what happens with each of these. So first one, let's start with the arithmetic. We talked about that last time. And so there's a thing called adddate or add time, which is no underscore, and it's just going to be add date like that. And let's put him here. And I want to show you what happens in each of these cases. And the format for this is that we have an interval. And let's start with just 1 day. And you're going to see that we can actually, this interval can be a whole lot of interesting things. So first, let's do this and see what it tells us. So we're adding 1 day to each of these. Now, adding a date to a year is just going to return back a null. Adding a day to a regular date, this is the type date. So 4/21/12/12. Now it's 4/22/13/13, and the date time was 4/20/11, and we see 4/21/12. Now we can do the same thing, and we can change it. So let's, instead of a day, let's add a month. So let's do that. We still don't get anything on our year, but we now see our months of being incremented. We can do the same thing. Let's do it this way. It's probably easier to do this way. And let's go ahead and subtract 2 months. There we go. So it went from like 5 to yeah, I must have missed that somewhere. I had an extra one somewhere. Okay. But now notice that like here where we subtract 2, we went from what is it? Here, let me do that one more time. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I was thinking it was updating, but I'm actually doing the select. I'm not actually doing an update. I confused myself. So we started with, let's do that. So we started at 4/20 in the type date time. I'm sorry. So we had 4 So it's basically April, January, January. When we subtract 2, notice that we jump back to February, but here it even does our arithmetic. So it says that, hey, we went to a prior year, and it does that with these as well. Again, type year hasn't been touched. Now let's do, oh, I'm sorry. And that was on the subtract. So there's our subtract now. So now let's take, we've done a day. Let's add a year. And so now we still don't see in the year because it doesn't really treat it, I guess, properly as a date type in a sense. What we do see is here. So we've incremented, remember these were 2000. So we increment our years. Let's go back up here so we can see them. Date time was 22, 2000, 2000. And date time is now 23, 2001, 2001. Same thing on our type date. Year, note, we're still not getting it. Year is effectively a more like a number, although it's a special, in a sense, it's basically a number. So you're not going to see that as useful as some of the other dates, which brings us to, which we've already seen. What I can do is I can take the same thing and I can actually cast stuff. So if I take just the year out of each of these, and we're going to see the same thing. I could take a year, I could do year, I could do month, I could do date. I think we saw we can do before even that we can do hour, we can do minute, and even second. So now let's just take that and see what happens. Whoop, I need to paste that. And now the year of, sorry, it got too big there because of that. Let me cast this. So let's just do, that's going to be DT. That's going to be just, that's going to be TTM, DT. And year, let's do this way. This is a nice way also, so we can shrink that thing. Now we've got a nice small thing. Okay. And we can see that for the date time, we got just the year, date. So we don't really, years, they have their uses, but, and particularly because they're smaller, but typically you're probably better off using a date time or, a date. Let's see. So time, let's see, what else do we want to look at? Now we can also do a date sub. So we can do, and actually there's date add, there's also add date. I'm sorry, date add. And he's going to run the same way. So there's a couple of aliases, basically, of methods, or I guess functions, I should say. Now you can do, let's see, let's go back up to, let's just start this one. We can also do things like this. We could do a day of year. Let's do this, which you can also do day of week, day of month. Pardon me while I type. So I can do day of year for each of these, which is a nice way to quickly grab, like, particularly with the year. I guess week also happens quite a bit where you're like, hey, I want to know if it's and we'll show that in a second. If it's a Monday, Sunday, Tuesday, whatever it is, day of the week. So day of year, I'm just going to take type year out because it's not going to like that. So we'll show you that, yeah, see, it's still null. But here we can see the day of the year. So April, what was that? April 21st is obviously, or apparently, the 110th day of the year. And this depends on leap day. or I'm sorry, leap years. So depending on the year, you may have a slightly different day of the year, obviously. You can also do, which is fairly useful for us on a regular basis. I want to show you that one. I can do day of week. And I can see which day of the week each of these are. And that's not always useful to see, which day of the week is at. And what I can do is I can do day name. If I can type it right, day name. So I can take that, and now it doesn't like that. Let's do, probably because it doesn't do it off of that. It has to do it off of this. So instead of day of week, I can do day name. These are easy to forget. There we go. So now we see Wednesday, Saturdays, Sunday, Thursday. These are easy to forget because there's a lot of little variations of this. And if you're in other databases, Oracle, SQL Server, DB2, whatever, there are going to be most likely very similar type functions. They may work a little differently. And so those are one of the things you're just going to have to worry about is you're going to have to figure out what is it that I need to use in this database. What's the format? Which parameter comes in which order. Now, the interval thing is a little different. A lot of times it's going to be like a +1, -1 or stuff like that. And then it may say, a type or something like that. So that is where it's going to be different. You're not going to see stuff that looks like this, add date, interval, 1 day kind of stuff. And that does work for year, month, day, hour, minute, second. So I can do the same thing, and I can add a second. I can add 5 seconds. Let's do this. And I think I can even put an S at the end. I'm going to find out in a second. No pun intended. So let's see. Let's do it this way, right? First. So I got that. Now let's see. I think it will allow me to put an S there. Oh, no, it doesn't. Okay. I was thinking it might, but it doesn't. So it's always going to be singular, but the interval, the number, and then the type. And so I could do second, I can do minute, I can do hour. So we do a lot of that fairly straightforward, fairly quickly. We also saw our casting. So we can cast a year to month to day. That's what we want to do is... Let's do, let's see. How do I want to do this? Okay. I'm going to do, let's do this. I'm going to take these. And now I'm going to use, if we want to compare some, we can always do less than, greater than, equals to, not equal to, which we've already seen. But I can also do, I can compare two dates. So let me do that to now. And that to now. And here's the difference. And it's going to be in seconds. And we can see that now... and it's, let's see how to do it. It's basically the first one minus the second one is how you do it. So if I flip those, what's the difference between, so to go from, if I want to know, if I want to go from type date time, that value to now, I have to add that back in. And so this first part is 8,146 seconds less than this. And if I run it again, because it's now, we're going to see, oh, no, it is about the same thing. So interesting. Oh, that may be in minutes. My mistake. Let's look at it this way. First, no, we'll leave it like that. And I want to take that, let's say, times 60. Oh, I'm sorry, divided by 60. Let's do divided by 3,600. Well, let's see, how many minutes? Let's do it that way. So the difference here is 135 minutes. Let's look at it this way. This is going to be easier. I also want to do, let's do it this way. It's going to be easier to see. Type date time, comma now. Let's do this. That way we can actually look at what the value are. So if we look at the difference over 60. So from, and this is in the date diff. This is important, is that for date diff, only the date is used. And this is a number of days. This is the number of days returned. So we're going to see here that 135 days is the difference between these two. Since this is a partial, it's basically, oh, because I did the, I'm sorry, that's in days. Oh, wait, no, we can't see that because if I do, it's not in days. That's days. So let's do divided by 365. Let's do that. Sorry, guys. Getting confused on these. Okay, so here we go. So the difference in these, and it does take this into account, is that, or I'm sorry, it doesn't take this into account. So this is going to be 1 regardless, which I'll show you in a minute. But this is basically 22 years difference. Let me go show you that. So the date difference, even though the times are pretty close, here it's just at 421 to 421, even though those are about there. So even if I were to change that time, I'm still going to get, this is a difference in days. Now there are others. So if you want to do time diff, if you want to do a timestamp comparison, you can get those as well. So there's quite a bit of, did I get that in there? Yep, I got that. Oh, let's do this. And let's do it by that, just so we've got it. So that's how many years. And I think that's a good place to stop for now. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. And we are going to dive into whatever our next topic happens to be. We've got plenty. We'll just see where it takes us. But until then, go out there and have yourself a great day, a great week, and we will talk to you next time.